Ralph Gilles is the head of design for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. And Ralph, it's great to be able to talk. Where are you? It looks like you're in a den or a garage or something like that.
Well, I escaped to it's actually the first time I use this space. It's my M1 garage, which I've had a couple of years now. And I thought I'd get away because they're doing some power washing on our decks because all the lawn mowing stuff can go back on. So we're doing spring cleaning and the dogs go crazy. So I couldn't have done this at home. So here we are.
And so for those who don't know, the M1 Concourse is, it's your own private garage and racetrack with a bunch of other people too.
Exactly. And everyone can outfit theirs, with their own. I have an Italian theme upstairs and downstairs is like my Mopar world. So that's my two favorite things.
That's cool. Hey, what I wanted to talk to you about, a whole bunch of things, but number one is, how do you guys keep on doing your work when everybody's in isolation, especially you running a global operation?
So what's interesting in a couple things, it caught us at a good time. It's never a good time for something like this, but we were in between big projects. We had just kind of handed over a lot of our work to the engineers. So they're tooling up the new Grand Cherokee, the new Wagoneer. So a lot of the big programs just went through our system. So we were getting back into the ideation mode for the next generation of programs. And that's the kind of work, honestly, you can actually do very well at home. So that has worked very well. And as soon as we kind of felt the way the winds were blowing, we actually had the IT team has been amazing, by the way. If there any of them listening, they've been fantastic. So immediately they helped us collect all of the, because the designers, they work on these big Wacom tablets, these Cintiq tablets. They're quite cumbersome. So we made sure everyone could take them home. We kind of hooked everyone up with kind of private accounts and stuff. So we honestly didn't skip a beat. I mean, if anything, the most of our designers have been really enjoying that kind of, I would say, cathartic sort of almost college-like experience at home.
There's that aspect of, physically being able to do the work, but I'm sure you guys need to keep personally in touch with each other as well.
Yeah, a couple things are happening. So, we've discovered Hangouts and Google and Zoom and all that stuff like everyone else has. So the meetings actually are getting more intense. So everyone knows I'm not traveling. So number one, they know Ralph is home. So my calendar is like booked solid from 7 in the morning till sometimes as late as 7 at night. So, and it's weird because it's like sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have to go to the washroom. Like you forget to do those things because you're back to back to back. So the meeting cadence is actually, if anything, intensified. Try to knock stuff out. Everyone's really getting into it. The quality of work is outstanding. We're actually seeing some of the best work I've ever seen. Again, because people are kind of, the people with kids are a little more challenging because the kids are bouncing around in the background. We see them sometimes in the Hangouts, literally in the foreground, the cats and stuff. But on the other hand, some of the guys that don't have families yet, they're kind of got their headphones on, and it reminds me again of when I was in college. So that is actually working out well. The one thing, like you were talking about before, the one challenge is the physical properties, the modeling. Now we're going to need to get back into that soon, probably I would say 5-6 weeks from now, we kind of need to get back in the studio. So I feel bad for those guys because my clay modelers are definitely not able to work from home. That's the one aspect of our business. But we're doing absolutely everything we can to keep it trucking.
Yeah. So coming out of this whole crisis and all that, when we get back to normal, whatever that's going to be, do you think you'll have people that say, Ralph, I don't want to come into the studio every single day. Can I come in just a few times a week? Do you think there's going to be changes along those lines?
I would say this, and it's actually coming from the top of the house. So Mr. Manley himself, so our leadership is actually realizing that he's even operating that way. We're having our own global executive council meetings through these digital systems, and we're all realizing, wow, this is pretty efficient. This is actually working out very well. So it's kind of coming from both directions. The leadership is realizing that this is working well, and it does make sense for a lot of people. It buys you time. You're not commuting. You're not doing traveling. You're not at the airports as much. So there's things we're definitely going to do different. And then, of course, as you know, a lot of the people that have kids, the schools are shut down well into next spring, next fall. So that's automatically going to, if we go back online this summer, we're still going to respect that situation. Everyone's going to have kind of have a bit of a snowplow effect to their lives. So we're going to be very flexible and very, very open-minded to that. But honestly, I think it's a permanent change. I think there's a lot of things we're going to do differently from here on out. And we were kind of starting to do that anyway. We were starting to open up flex time, a couple days a week. But it could be, weeks at a time people are home, as long and they're getting the work done. So there's no fear anymore that, when they're home, they're doing whatever. But we're finding out that people are actually very diligent, and in some ways the work is even better than I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical on this, but do you think this whole lockdown, social distancing, and that is going to have some reflection on design or go into your design thinking?
Well, we already are. We actually I just enjoyed a presentation on Monday with my color and trim team, and actually they had a global meeting about it because, as you know, the Italians kind of dealt with this a little earlier than us. My Asian team in China, in Shanghai, and they're coming to me with some really cool ideas about the interior. Cleanability of the interior, ionization of the interior, getting rid of small grooves. For cars that are kind of fleet cars and shared autonomous automobiles. How can cars be easier to clean or even clean themselves? Or we're talking about using coppers and different fibrous materials woven into that kind of kill bacteria by themselves, right? So there's a lot of neat things like that. Our supply base is also thinking about. We're starting to think about stuff that we were already kind of thinking about in terms of sustainable materials. Everything is kind of coming in together into a new approach. And I think we have to be careful, right? We're designing in this moment. As you know, cars take 2 to 3 years to come out. You want to make sure it seems a little out of date when it comes out because you're dealing with things that have already come and gone. But I do think there's a permanent awareness to cleanability, to basically safety. So I think that's here to stay, and we're going to adapt.
Yeah, we got one of our viewers said, "Hey, why don't they put ultraviolet lights in the dome light in the car?"
Yeah, we just got to make sure it doesn't do something to you as well. It's only doing that when you're out of the car. I don't know what, so a lot of testing, make sure we don't fry people in their cars.
That's right. So one of the things I heard that you guys are doing is sort of like a coffee clutch every morning where people just get together online like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And just talk about stuff, not necessarily talk shop.
It's exactly what has happened. Some people are a little, worn out by all the meetings. It does intensify, like I said earlier. But they actually, one of my leaders created a non-work meeting, non-shop talk meeting. So they basically have social hours, and sometimes they call them happy hours. So you know what that means. But they've had hat competitions. They've had bring your kids to the meeting. And actually, we did have our first bring your work to kids day. It's kind of a little bit different. Last Thursday we had that, and it was a raging success. We had a website so the parents could kind of have their kids click and find out how to explain aerodynamics or explain the dyno labs or explain whatever it may be. So it was very engaging, and that's kind of here to stay. We have that website on forever now. So we're learning a lot about how to blend the family life and the work life, and then rekindle the social aspects that you get at the coffee maker. Now you can get through the digital devices.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk car shows a minute. They've all been canceled as of right now. There was, issues with car shows even before this coronavirus crisis hit.
So you're talking big car shows like the
the big car shows, exactly right. Because, we in the media always like to go there, and especially if you got concept cars, we always love that part of it. But I know designers like yourself will go around and look at the competition and all that. How do you think that might evolve?
Yeah, that's a quite actually, to be honest, we're looking to see. We're talking with the organizers quite a bit. I remember I had my bags packed literally on my way to the airport when they canceled the Geneva show, and then New York went after that. And as you know, it's kind of unsure what's going to happen. Even the car shows, I also like the concours type car shows. Right. Amelia was just made it in there at the end. So it's very concerning to me. We wonder about that. We already spent a lot of time online looking at, because a lot of other competitors have done digital reveals, and there's a lot of information there. So of course we're surfing the internet, trying to gather as much as we can about our competition. And to be honest, I think we're going to blend that form of launches. We've already done some of that. You saw Olivier Francois launch the 500e digitally, just himself and a camera, and it actually worked out quite well. The views were amazing, so a lot of people ended up watching it. I think that's here to stay. That form of launching of vehicles is so effective and so current. But I think the auto shows, what people forget is when you and I are done doing our piece, the media day, which is the first 2 days, there's still 2 weeks of tire kickers and people sitting and comparing vehicles. So there's a huge value to those auto shows, and I really hope they don't go anywhere. I think they might have to adapt a little bit, but that really is an outstanding place to shop a car. You can only get so far online. So I hope they come back. I think they're going to have to adapt. And in the meantime, we've got to keep going. We got to find new ways to reach our customers.
Yeah. Right now I'm just using a laptop, an external mic and earbuds and all that, and it works pretty well. But are you guys looking at anything like using VR goggles, augmented reality, and being able to do some sort of design review or presentation this way?
Well, Well, we do that already. We use those technologies in my shop all the time. I've actually been in Detroit looking at stuff in Turin, even though using that VR technology is very cool. I've even have presentations where I can grab the mouse and spin a model that's being it's originating from China. I actually sit down and turn the model in my laptop while I'm watching. So we have all of that technology at our disposal. So yes, we've upped that. If anything, we've turned that on even more. So we're using those technologies more than ever. But I do miss rubbing that clay. I really miss sighting that line. There's nothing like beholding the proportions in the flesh.
Yeah, and I think even for the public, going to a dealership or whatever, just running your hand down the fender tells you something about the car.
Yeah. So there's something there. I can't wait to see how it all plays out, but I think it's going to be a blend of everything. I really do. Because we've always thought things would displace things, but it tends to add on. We tend to just glob on new technologies.
Yeah. Do you find different regions of the world in FCA design reacting differently to doing things online, or is it pretty much consistent?
It's been quite surprisingly consistent. Almost all the teams immediately, we all have the same tablets and same technology. So a long time ago, we kind of got this equalized that way. So it was pretty seamless. That's a consistent message is people enjoy it. They don't mind being home and working. They like it in some ways. So all of us are thinking, okay, we're going to have to go back differently and basically welcome this new approach. At the same time, the same story. The quality of work is improved everywhere. It's amazing. There's a certain relaxing aspect. And I think there are distractions. Let's face it. As fun as work is, there's always people, hey, chatting you at your desk. There's always a distraction. So in a way, that part is improved.
So when you say the quality of the work is amazing, it's actually better. Specifically, what are you seeing?
Detail, just the amount of detail the designers are going into, how thorough the sketches are. Sometimes they'll see one theme, but then they'll go deeper into that theme and show me the details of the lamps or the detail of doors. I mean, just getting into the very intricate stuff that normally they don't have time to do. So that's what I mean. And the volume of work is quite impressive. The competition, because the other thing that's happening when I have these reviews, they tend to project one image at a time. So I'm really focused. You have to imagine when I go to a studio, there's a wall of sketches. So I may not notice that one sketch sometimes at the bottom right. I tend to go back at night and do it. But now when we're on these systems, everybody has my attention and each other's attention. So everyone's staring at that sketch. So they're like, oh my God, I better bring the heat,
That's great.
Yeah.
So what am I missing here? Anything else that we should cover?
I think what I do like is how quickly the other side of our business has adapted. So we're finding that people are still shopping cars online.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, I think the rebound's hopefully going to be pretty good. We feel the demand. We're starting to the interest for the cars are still there. So I was a little nervous about what this would mean to our industry, but it seems like everyone's ready to get back to it.
Yeah, I think all of us can't wait to get back to normal, whatever that might be, but certainly different than what we're in right now with all the social distancing and quarantine stuff.
Yeah, and I really want for every reason, right? I want it to get back, people get back to work. Everybody, Americans love to work, love to stay busy. So it's cool to see this energy, just bottled up energy.
Good deal. Ralph Gilles, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today. And I can't tell, I can see the headlights. What do you have behind you on the car there?
That's my Lancia Delta Evo 1. So
all right.
2 years ago, they were allowed to be imported to the US. As you know, it's 1992, so it's old enough to come in, no issue. They were never sold in the US, but it's such a neat little car. 6 rally championships to that model for Lancia back in the day.
So you're at the M1, you're going to take it out on the track?
Once in a while. This one is more, it's like a full-size model car. It's one of those crazy things. I do drive it once in a while, but it's more, right now it's an object of art.
Yeah. Do you have something else that you take out on the track there then?
Yeah, my Alpha, the Viper. This is more like a warm-up track. M1 is a smaller, it's only 1.5 miles. So it's perfect to kind of sort the car out, but then I usually truck it to Pittsburgh Raceway or Groton or something like that to really open it up. I can't wait. So I think there's a few track days popped up on my calendar next month. So
cool. I hope you get there. But again, Ralph, thanks for your time, man. Really good.
Yeah, and to everyone out there, we can't wait to get back to it. So thank you for doing the interview, and it's a lot of fun.